Well, welcome everybody. It's really nice to meet you. I'm just going to make some informal comments. A little bit about myself. I love coming to this program because getting more Native American and underrepresented people into higher ed in general, engineering more specifically, is just something that's very important to me. As you might have guessed from my name, I'm of Mexican descent. So my grandfather was born in Mexico in about 1863. We're not exactly sure when. He was a colorful person. And as we like to say in our family, the border crossed him. He didn't cross the border, but he was born in a part of Mexico that became Texas. He wound up actually living in Nebraska because he worked on the Transcontinental Railroad and wound up settling in far western Nebraska. It's sort of a little bit of a joke in my family because I grew up right outside of Washington, D.C., and my dad would watch Nebraska football games, and we'd go running into where he'd watch the games, and we'd say, "Hey, Dad, where were you born?" And he'd say, "Trenton." And we'd say, "Trenton where?" Because, Trenton, New Jersey, right? "Trenton, Nebraska." And we'd say, "Dad, where's Trenton, Nebraska?" And he'd say, "Near McCook." How many of you know where McCook is? Yeah. And so actually when I flew out here for my interview in 1996 for my faculty job, I thought I'd sneak out to see where my dad was born, not realizing that it's about a 7-hour drive from Lincoln. So he grew up in western Nebraska. My dad was born in Trenton, Nebraska, one of 10 kids. In a very poor family. They had a 3-room house that used to get...
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Very similar story.
Used to get flooded by the Republican River every time it flooded. So he got drafted into World War II into the Army, wound up making the Army his career, which is how he wound up settling outside of Washington, D.C. with the rest of my family. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. Neither of my parents went to college. So all of my siblings and I have all gone to college. All of us have advanced degrees. I'm the only one with a PhD. But my family has just lived the transformative experience of higher education. And the irony of me winding up back as a faculty member at the University of Nebraska and now as the Dean of the College of Engineering, I think is both poignant in the sense that when my dad was growing up in western Nebraska, they wouldn't let him go to school originally because his last name was Pérez. And it wasn't until they discovered how good of an athlete he was that they actually welcomed him into high school. There's the tremendous irony in me being on the faculty and dean at the University of Nebraska, but also I think it speaks to the power of education. Education is a tool that gives you so much authority in your own life, so much ability to determine what you're going to be. And again, I've just lived that. It's just been an amazing thing to me. I hope that I'm hearing all these great stories about where you are, about going to graduate school, about to finish your undergraduate degree in civil engineering. So I just hope that you'll continue that. I hope you'll go on for advanced degrees if that's what you want. It is powerful. You can do whatever you want with education. Just stick with it. It's hard, but it is worth it. I never thought I'd get a PhD, and even though, when I was a kid, I always said I wanted to be a professor because it was sort of the most esteemed profession in my house, just because my parents valued education so much. That's really what I'm here to do, is to encourage you. You're on the right path. You're doing the right things. I know it's a hard path frequently for people with diverse backgrounds because you have to overcome more things than a traditional student does. You have to have more persistence. You have to honor your traditions and your family while you're doing this, and that's important. So I hope you'll find that path and that you'll stick with your education and move forward. And again, I hope you'll think about advanced degrees because it really is a transformative thing if you stick with it, even if it's a PhD in philosophy. Right? So welcome to Nebraska. I hope you've spent some time on campus, I know, so I don't want to give you a speech about the University of Nebraska.
What is your degree in?
All of my degrees are in electrical engineering. So I have a bachelor's, master's, and PhD all in electrical engineering. I did my...
Like Stan?
Yeah, he and I already connected on that. So I did my undergraduate at the University of Virginia. I did all my graduate work at the University of Notre Dame. I then did a postdoc in Switzerland at the ETH in Zurich. And then I've been on the faculty here since 1996. I started out as a young assistant professor, rose up through the academic ranks to tenured full professor. Started taking on some administrative roles about 10 years ago. I went to the National Science Foundation for 2 years as a program officer, and from 2008 to 2010, I came back expecting to go back to the faculty. Tenured full professor is the best job on campus. But I was asked by our senior vice chancellor for academic affairs at the time, which is the provost on most campuses. She was a mentor and friend of mine, and she asked me to join her in the senior vice chancellor's office for what I thought would be 1 year, to run faculty affairs and to also run technology and academic space. So I thought I'd do that for a year. It turned out to be 6 years. So I ran promotion and tenure on the campus, did faculty development on campus, helped the University of Nebraska move into the Big Ten, and what is now the Big Ten Academic Alliance, which used to be called the Committee on Institutional Cooperation. And then I decided I was going to step down from that position and again go back to the faculty. It's really my first love, and our current chancellor, Ronnie Green, asked me to take over the deanship of the College of Engineering, and I just started July 1st in that role. I did it because I believe really two things. One is I believe in giving back. The College of Engineering has been incredibly good to me. The University of Nebraska has been incredibly good to me. When I came out here, I never thought I would have the opportunities that I've had, both on the academic side. I've had a very, very successful research career, about $20 million in federal grants, NSF Career Award, all that good stuff. Won every teaching award there was on campus as well. And then these administrative opportunities have really been very interesting as well. So I wanted to give back. And also, I think we're at a very, very special time at the University of Nebraska. So now I'm giving you the pitch. The University of Nebraska has this great tradition of being the only comprehensive PhD research-intensive institution in the state of Nebraska. I don't know if you've gotten to travel much in Nebraska, those of you who are from out of state, but it's an amazing place that is really it's the future of the country, actually, I think, the states like Nebraska. The work ethic in the people in Nebraska, the spirit of entrepreneurship, the desire to make a better life for yourself is just so alive in the state of Nebraska that we see it in the economic activity, we see it in the commitment to higher ed. We're very, very fortunate in the state of Nebraska to have a legislature and a populace that provides support to the university at a level that is really almost found in almost no other state in the United States. We're still at roughly 25% of a state-aided budget. My alma mater, the University of Virginia, is down to 7%. My colleagues in Michigan, they're under 10%. So we're very, very fortunate to have that level of support, and it's because of how education, both K through 12 and higher ed, is valued in the state of Nebraska. And we have great new leadership with our new president, Hank Bounds, and our new chancellor, Ronnie Green, and they are both committed to making the University of Nebraska a great state institution at the national and international level. And in particular, and this is fortunate for me, they're committed to making the College of Engineering one of the best College of Engineerings in the colleges of engineering in the United States. So I just got an allocation of $70 million to build a new building. We're gonna couple that with a fundraising campaign of $80 to $100 million, and that's all just to invest in the College of Engineering. We've hired 46 new faculty in the last 3 years. We're hiring 11 more new faculty this year. We'll probably hire over the next 5 years another 50 faculty. So it's just, I'm sorry, I'm on the soapbox now, but it's just a really exciting time.
In engineering, you're hiring?
That's right, all those hires are in engineering. So it's a really exciting time to be in the state of Nebraska, I think. It's a really exciting time to be at the university, and it's a really, really exciting time to be in engineering. So I'm very fortunate is the end of all that. So I've talked enough. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Anything at all. You want to ask me something about my career, my personal life, I'm happy to take any of that.
So what's the strategy on minority students from your point of view?
For getting them into the university or the College of Engineering, or
just number one, university, and then
Sure.
secondly, engineering.
yeah. So I think where the university is, there's several things that we're working on. So one is building relationships. So I'll talk about something I know more about. So the state of Nebraska has a very rapidly increasing Hispanic, Latino, Latina population due to immigration, due to the type of economy that we have that attracts migrant workers. So where they used to be migrant, now they've settled and created communities and homes across the state, primarily in western Nebraska, because that's where the jobs are. So I'll use Kearney as an example. If you go out to Kearney, which is about three hours west of here, around it there are a bunch of communities of around 50,000 people that are now becoming majority Hispanic, Latino, Latina. Very bright, hardworking kids, doing well in high school. I think the 3 hours between Kearney and Lincoln might as well be going across the Atlantic Ocean, right? That distance, because of their family connections, because of their community connections. So getting them to come to the University of Nebraska in Lincoln is very challenging because of, again, the way they honor that family tradition, the culture of supporting your family. So what we've done for that specific population is built out, we hired people on the University of Nebraska Kearney campus. Hey Chris, how you doing?
Good.
So that we could do a 2+2 program in engineering, so that they can do their first 2 years of the program in Kearney in their local community while they're with their family, while we can help and at the same time we can do outreach to them, talk to them and their families about, okay, this is why you need to come to Lincoln for those final 2 years. Also, we can get to know them so that we can build the right financial aid package for them. One of the things we know is, at the admissions side, the traditional admissions metrics are disadvantageous to underrepresented students. Our over-reliance on ACT scores and GPA disadvantages students. So I'm pushing in the College of Engineering. I just had a meeting with my staff yesterday about this. We're moving to a more holistic evaluation process so that takes into account the different backgrounds that our students have, trying to recognize the personal situations that they're coming from, a lot of our underrepresented students within the state, and this is true nationally. I'm focusing on Nebraska because 65% of our students in the college and roughly at the university are from Nebraska. If you grow up in one of our small western agricultural communities, you don't get the chance to take calculus, so your ACT score won't be as high. So we're going to build bridge programs, summer bridge programs for those students, and really recognize that a student who grows up in those communities and graduates from high school with a reasonable ACT score and a reasonable GPA has the skills to become an engineer. And it's our job to meet them halfway, make sure that we transition them successfully into our programs. I mentioned financial aid. That's another piece. like most universities, our financial aid is too driven by prior academic achievement. So great, there's a reason that you want to have some merit-based scholarships, but we need to be using financial aid to, again, help those students who've had that hard struggle and succeeded to get to the university in a way that's not penalizing them and their families. So those are a couple of things we're doing. We're also across the campus working on initiatives on diversity and inclusion so that we're a more welcoming and inclusive campus. That it's particularly challenging for our African American students because just of the natural demographics of our state and Lincoln. So we've had to really work to try to make our campus more inclusive. I think we're very fortunate in the state of Nebraska. The history and culture of Nebraska comes, and I know this is a little trite, but it's the reality, comes from the pioneers who, if you look at that, if you go back to the late 1800s, it was actually a very diverse group, right? These people came from all across Europe. We still have these Czech communities and German communities and Russian communities in Nebraska because it was a migrant population that had the courage and the need to come and settle a place like Nebraska. So there's this interesting tradition of multiculturalism in the state that hasn't fully transitioned to the modern multiculturalism and demographics, but the roots are there. And then the core of what a Nebraskan is somebody who's hardworking and somebody who's self-reliant and somebody who is trying to better themselves. And so that's been really helpful as we've worked on diversity and inclusion and trying to make our campus and the state, quite frankly, more welcoming. So sorry, I got on my soapbox again.
No, this is good.
Yeah.
Could you speak a little bit about the College Prep Academy that you're developing with the Winnebago tribe? Because I think that you're pretty interested.
I'll try. I don't know a lot about that. So the College Prep Academy, we actually have a couple of them. What this is about, it's about the university partnering really with high schools to develop programs within those high schools that, as the name suggests, are about college preparation, so that you're explicitly thinking about college while you're in high school. So, we're trying to create a preparatory academy within high schools. We've targeted a couple of high schools that are specifically serving underrepresented communities. I know less about the one that's trying to work with the Winnebago tribe. There's one in central Nebraska that was designed to work with our Hispanic and Latino population. But it builds on some of those things I was saying about how we're trying to reach out to the underrepresented communities, that we know that there's not a tradition of going to college in some of these communities, that the high schools, again, aren't really built to serve students who are going to college. And so we've strategically partnered with high schools that serve specific underrepresented communities to try to change that, to try to start talking about college to the students earlier, to make sure that the academic programs are preparing them for college. So that's what I know. So
I think one thing that I've heard about it, it's pretty new, is they'll work with the Little Crease Tribal College, so getting the students at the high school level on a track, and then the 2 thing.
The 2+2. Yeah.
Little Crease 2 years and then transition to the university or UNO.
Right.
So I think it's a good thing. In Omaha South, I believe that's where they're doing it with the Hispanic community as well. So that's exciting.
It is. Thanks. I'm sorry I don't know more about that. Yeah.
It's real new, so sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's
Do you guys work with the Omaha tribe in Waldorf or Mason, Nebraska?
I'm sorry.
Do you work with the Omaha tribe in Waldorf or Mason, Nebraska?
The College of Engineering does not explicitly work there. I don't. The university, again, I'm not fully aware of everything.
With college prep?
Yeah.
For the high schools and middle schools?
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Remember, he
I
just
just
started.
asked because you brought your life first, but
Yeah, I just.
So he's
Yeah.
he's in the learning phase.
And I'm not fully aware of everything our Office of Admissions does across the entire enterprise. So I apologize.
I think we found a number of connections this last few days. And
Okay.
continuing to make those would be great. So I think it's a great question. I think it would be something to look into. I think there's a number of neat things that we can do in the coming years.
Well, and New Mexico could use that also, because the high schools in New Mexico are not very good.
Right.
One of my sons graduated, I don't know, he was like 15th in his class of 500. And when he went to college, he realized that he didn't know that much. He wasn't able to write well because he hadn't been taught that, and it was really, it really showed how bad the high schools were in New Mexico.
So I'm going to add to that because I moved there too, from Blacksburg, and the education system, because it was a college town. So when my girls went to La Cueva, which was the best high school in Albuquerque, public school by far, they were almost a year and a half ahead of everyone else.
Oh, wow.
But they liked it because it's like, well, I can float, right? But then, as Nancy was saying, then you finish and then you find out there's a gap. And there's always been a gap, and then the question really is, how large is that gap? And it's different wherever you come from. So if you're coming from a small place that's underrepresented, you don't have really good teachers, and that gap is large. And then the question really, I think, is where are you relative in your, and I said this already yesterday, but what is really your skill set? So I don't really know you yet, but I don't know what you could be. You know, maybe you're really going to be a doctor. I don't know. I don't know yet because we just don't know. But maybe by coming, we'll give you the opportunity to challenge you to become who you really could become. And that's, you know, here at Nebraska, that's we love you to come here because we'll push you. Or we'll push you where you need to be. Maybe it's not here, maybe it's at Dartmouth. But it's going to be somewhere. And just for you to move from point A to B, that's, as Judy said last night, showing up is half the battle. You show up and things will happen.
Yeah, so one of the things we've done in the college is we created a math preparatory academy, which is a roughly 2-week long intense bridge program where we invite our students who have lower math ACT scores to come to campus 2 weeks early. We pay for it, put them in the dorms, and give them 2 weeks of intense math preparation. But we also do it in a very fun way, and it's also an introduction to engineering. So it's not, it's not like cramming for the SAT or ACT. It's this experiential learning process with in a group setting, and that's been really, so it's like Chris said, if you show up, we're going to work with you and do everything we can to help you succeed. So.
Very good. Any more questions for Dr. Pérez? Well, thanks, Lance.
All right, thanks.